Tokusatsu means a lot of things to me, but I've had to sum it up, it's that it's a genre of extreme artistic expression through special effects of all kinds. If there was only one show I could showcase to best represent this idea at the best this medium has to offer with no creative restrictions whatsoever, it would have to be the show Taro Man. Head directed by Ryo Fuji, Taro Man presents itself as an old school 70s time capsule tokusatsu, but themed around the aesthetics and philosophy of the late but highly influential avant-garde Japanese artist Taro Okamoto, with the titular Taro Man himself being inspired by a building Okamoto designed, Tower of the Young Sun. Now keep in mind, I am relying on English fan subs to watch and understand the show, so outside of the Absurda-Beast monsters taking direct inspiration from actual Okamoto visual art pieces, I don't have access to all of the art philosophy Okamoto has published in essays during his lifetime. This made me unsure if the running gag of characters directly attributing quotes to Okamoto was 100% true, but based on what I've read on the man through the scant few English articles I could find, and learning that Taro Man's Art is an Explosion and Finisher attack uses old commercial audio from Okamoto himself, it seems like the crew of Taro Man really committed to the idea of an absurd Taro Okamoto-inspired tokusatsu drama and pulled every possible reference and source of the man they could. So usually when I make an analysis video, I go over the characters and themes of a story in their entirety, but Taro Man's more of an episode-to-episode concept-driven show, so I'm going to quickly talk about each of the 10 episodes of the initial Taro Man run and give my thoughts on them. I normally don't like doing episode-to-episode coverage of a show, as I would rather people watch the shows I'm talking about for themselves, but each episode of Taro Man is super short anyway, and I think I am sadly the first English-speaking person on YouTube to give this show any kind of coverage, so I feel the need to do this show justice. If you're all interested in watching Taro Man right now, I'd recommend pausing this video, go find the fan subs of the 10 episode run, it will take less than an hour to watch it all, then you can come back here for my takeaways and analysis about each episode and how they connect to Okamoto's philosophy on art and life. Cool? Cool. Let's begin the rundown. Episode 1 serves as a great basis for the ideas and tone you can expect out of the rest of Taro Man. One of my favorite scenes of the episode comes from when the two newscasters are discussing the ridiculousness of Taro Man's initial actions, with one saying it looks easy while the other proves him wrong. Silliness like this takes effort and creativity, which is shown when Taro Man gets mentally blocked for a bit till he's able to make a breakthrough with his finisher. Episode 2 continues the great reoccurring jokes that the show would keep expanding on throughout its run, like the guy who keeps getting his office destroyed constantly, while also providing a message about trusting your own song. Even if others may laugh at your unconventional creative expression, if it makes you happy, go for it. Episode 3 is one of the more conceptually horrifying episodes of the show, where the Absurda Beast named I Saw the Future makes everyone apathetic by showing them a predictable future, but Taro Man's brand of absurdity teaches the masses to break free from a set-in-stone future possibility, to live your life freely as a reborn man. Episode 4 is all about the dangers of relying on repetition and patterns, showing a scenario where society expects Taro Man to save the day against the new Absurda Beast like he usually does all the time, so in this episode's battle he tries to make himself lose to change routine. This is until Taro Man number 2 comes along, which makes Taro Man crash out as the thought of someone just copying his work to do the same thing he already did makes him want to die. I really love how they homaged and twist the finale of the original Ultraman series of Taro number 2 as a Zoffy stand-in, but because Taro Man is so high concept and absurd, this is only the near halfway point of the show. As for episode 5, it has Taro Man play tag of the Absurda Beast of the week, while taking some time to inspire a local artist to take his hobbies more seriously. You don't need to make it your full-time job, but putting more effort into your hobbies and exploring them further than your own comfort zone will allow you to get more experience of life. If you're truly passionate about something, don't half-ass it. Episode 6 has Taro Man take a troubled Earth Defense Force officer to another planet in order to teach her the meaning of inner beauty. Even if I found this episode to be more thematically simpler than its contemporaries, the fun green screen visuals and jokes do still make it an enjoyable time, and it's still a message people need to learn. Episode 7 has Taro Man lose all his popularity, which he finds acceptable. Lots of popularity does not make one a good hero no artist inherently. If you fret about what everyone else who observes you thinks, then your ability to be yourself will diminish. This episode also has some really cool stop motion effects of how Taro Man gets twisted by the two hand monsters. Episode 8 is about the value of loneliness and despair as a gear to create exciting art. Sometimes you need some alone time to think to yourself about what matters in your life and what you want to express in your creativity. This message may be portrayed through a dark comedy ending, but I think there's still value of what's being said of balancing friend time and alone time in your day-to-day. Episode 9 not only has Taro Man do a funny dance, but quickly defeating the villains of the episode before they can even use an Absurda Beast. Taro Man hates those who sit around, do nothing, and just talk about all the cool things they're gonna do instead of actually having the courage to do it, especially those with the resources to take action, as it speaks louder than cheap talk. And finally, the last episode, episode 10. And what an episode it was. I don't want to spoil the ending for those who still want to watch Taro Man, but the seemingly grim yet ultimately hopeful resolution that the series ends on touched my soul and is probably the only way the series could have ended. Beautifully tying into one of Okamoto's famous phrases and the series' main statement, art is an explosion. While episodes of Taro Man might be 4 to 5 minutes long, they're all jam-packed with so much great visuals, hilarious humor, and thought-provoking messages that really resonated with me even after the credits rolled. If you're one for subtlety, this show might not be for you, as the on-the-nose narrator basically spells out the message of each episode, but I think that adds to the absurd charm of Taro Man and helps make Okamoto's philosophy more accessible for those who want to think and learn about it afterwards. One of my favorite parts of every episode of Taro Man are the post-episode commentaries done by Ichiro Yamaguchi of the legendary Japanese band Sanction, who some anime fans might know recently for doing the opening for Orb on the movements of the Earth. These commentaries are done comedically while pretending Taro Man is this old show from the 70s that's only now being uncovered for a modern release, but there's still a lot of genuinely interesting remarks in these segments about Taro Man and Taro Okamoto's influences and legacy. These segments are not only a funny companion piece to a great show, but they have their own messaging about art within them. Think about it, we just watched a show that was based on one man's art philosophy, and now we're seeing how others interpret and take their own meaning from said art, as is the nature of discussing these things with our fellow man. I just think it's neat. I won't deny that Taro Man is ultimately a silly show, but I like that about it. I like the creative special effects mixed with the Tokusatsu hero adaptation of a real man's art and philosophy. It's a nearly uncompromised, wonderful creative vision that shows the best about what I love about Tokusatsu and why it's so important to me. So overall, Taro Man is art and I love it. I love it a lot. And I hope you can feel even a fraction of that love in this video.